Hello everybody and welcome to the Thursday edition of Video Clips. And I want to talk about masks today. And some of you sent me this. I've looked at it a couple times myself, but I decided the mask thing is heating up now. It's the new thing. It's the new way to take away your rights. I'm talking to you maskless. And the other day, Monday of this week, I was talking to somebody on the phone and I could not understand a word the woman was saying to me, and she says, well, I have to wear the mask. I said, you're going to have to take down the mask because I can't understand a word you're saying. Everybody's complaining about it. A lot of people are refusing. I'm not wearing a mask, not going to, not now, not ever. So Emperor DeWine, if you want to come haul me out of here and put me in jail, this would be your chance to do it. But I thought we should have some discussion about the masks, all right? According to a study published on the CDC's website, okay? The CDC. So all these people out there who are saying, we follow the science, we're only interested in the science. If I hear that one more time from somebody who's clearly not following the science, I'm going to explode. But basically, here's what it says. Here we review the evidence base on the effectiveness of non-pharmaceutical personal protective measures and environmental hygiene measures in non-healthcare settings and discuss their potential inclusion in pandemic plans. Although mechanistic studies support the potential effect of hand hygiene or face masks, evidence from 14 randomized controlled trials of these measures did not support a substantial effect on transmission of laboratory-confirmed influenza. We similarly found limited evidence on the effectiveness of improved hygiene and environmental cleaning. We identified several major knowledge gaps requiring further research, most fundamentally an improved characterization of the modes of person-to-person transmission. So now I'm going to give you the details. So this wasn't just about masks. It's about all this other crazy crap we're doing, like when you walk into the grocery store and everybody's supposed to hand sanitize. Unbelievable. I'm still getting my cart from the parking lot because it's just too much fun to watch all the horrified people. And I always tell them the same thing. I'm trying to kill myself, okay? So please don't interfere. You probably read in the newspaper every day about somebody else who dropped dead in Ohio from touching a shopping cart in the parking lot, right? So again, the people who believe this, what are you going to say? All right, so hand hygiene, washing the hands, is effective either with soap or water or alcohol. The researchers note that compliance with hand washing is low because behaviors are hard to change. Skin irritation is noted as a possible side effect. And by the way, this isn't meant to be done every 14 minutes, all right? However, the benefits for this practice are fairly clear and it's worth promoting. All right, so washing our hands, which I think most people understand that after you use the bathroom, you wash your hands. After I clean the litter box in the morning, I wash my hands. I mean, most of us who are responsible do that anyway. We probably could make other people do it more. Respiratory etiquette. This involves covering the nose and mouth with a tissue or mask, but not a hand, when coughing or sneezing, and then immediately disposing of the used product and followed by hand hygiene. No scientific evidence to support. None. Okay, so even covering your nose and your mouth when you cough or sneeze, all right, and washing your hands doesn't help. All right, so. And the hand is a lot less porous, in case you haven't taken a look, than the mask. All right, face masks. Here's the deal on face masks. 10 randomized controlled trials were identified that reported estimates of efficacy for face masks in reducing lab-confirmed influenza virus from 1946 to 2018. Pooled analysis showed no benefit. I'll give you a little bit more detail here. Disposable medical masks, also known as surgical masks, are loose-fitting devices that were designed to be worn by medical personnel to protect accidental contamination of patient wounds and to protect the wearer against splashes or sprays of bodily fluids. There is limited evidence for their effectiveness in preventing influenza virus transmission, either when worn by an infected person for source control or worn by uninfected persons to reduce exposure. Our systematic review found no significant effect of face masks on transmission of laboratory-confirmed influenza. No significant effect. All right, everybody's walking around in Ohio right now. Not everybody. Lots of people. It's 100 degrees in the shade here with high humidity, wearing these masks. No evidence. Now, surface and object cleaning. We got to wash everything down every time somebody comes into a room. Search period from 1946 to 2018. There were only 2 randomized controlled trials and 1 observational study. One RCT conducted in daycare nurseries found that bi-weekly cleaning and disinfection of toys and linen reduced the detection of multiple viruses, including adenovirus, rhinovirus, and respiratory syncytial virus in the environment, but this intervention was not significant in reducing detection of influenza virus, had no major protective effect on acute respiratory illness. Another RCT found that hand hygiene with hand sanitizer together with surface disinfection reduced absenteeism related to gastrointestinal illness in elementary schools, but there was no major reduction in absenteeism related to respiratory illness. So all this washing everything, you can't share your toys, scouring the environment every time somebody leaves a room, useless. All right. A cross-sectional study found that passive contact with bleach was associated with a major increase in self-reported influenza. So all these people walking around with bleach who are sterilizing everything, stay the heck away from them. Stay the heck away from any place they've been with these god-awful products. Although we found no evidence that surface and object cleaning could reduce influenza transmission, this measure does have an established impact on prevention of other infectious disease. There you have it. This is what the CDC has posted. Now, I just don't watch regular television anymore. It's just too aggravating. So I don't, and the other thing, I can't stand it because I have to watch them lie. And how you know they're lying is they're talking, right? So I'm sure that they're still claiming the CDC says, and we're using the best science, we can use the best science. All right, now, this is what this says. So a student at a university, Fauci was addressing, the student group, asked about this. So let me tell you what happened. So you would think that since there's no evidence to support wearing masks, the feckless one, Fauci, might want to conduct a study. All right, if you're going to get on TV every day and tell people to wear masks and wear one yourself so you look like you're wearing masks, I'd really like to know if he's wearing a mask at home. But anyway, you might want to conduct a study to show that they work, since he's telling us to wear one. So he was asked about this during a conversation with students of Georgetown University's Institute of Politics and Public Service. The student asked, is it possible to do a study in the midst of a pandemic about the effectiveness of wearing masks? And she said, what kind of studies could we do? Or are we just relying on anecdotal evidence because we're not able to do these kinds of studies right now? All right, so Fauci balked at the idea. He says, quote, I would not want to do a randomized controlled study because that would mean having people not wear masks and see if they do better. He suggested he would never ask an individual to participate in a study that would not involve wearing a mask. So he's okay telling everybody they should wear a mask, but he's not okay finding out if everybody should wear a mask. I'm going to ask the question I ask all the time. Why does this guy still have a job? All right. Now this will warm your heart. The mayor of Washington, D.C., Mayor Muriel Bowser, on Wednesday issued an order mandating that people in the district wear facial coverings when they're outside, while carving out huge exceptions for city and federal workers. The order requires people to have something on their face if they are anywhere near humans. All right? It says, quote, her order, persons leaving their residences shall wear a mask when they're likely to come in contact with another person, such as being within 6 feet of another person for more than a fleeting time. You can't make this stuff up. The mayor's order makes exceptions from the strict new rules for city and federal government workers, stipulating, quote, the enforcement provisions of this order shall not be applied to persons in the judicial or legislative branches of the district government while those persons are on duty, nor shall apply to employees of the federal government while they are on duty. All right? So you don't have to wear masks, by the way, in a private residence while consuming food or drink or while participating in outdoor exercise as long as you're not near people. 2 years and younger don't need to wear a mask. So this virus, we're finding out again, is very selective. So if you live in Washington, D.C., and you work at a grocery store, the virus is after you. If you work for the federal government, no problem, all right? If you work in an accounting firm, you better put your mask on. But if you are an accountant who works for the federal government, the virus only targets private accountants, not government accountants. I mean, you guys know the rules, right? And then if you're wondering where all these hospitalizations come from and all that kind of stuff, I have to tell you this. On July 17th, the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services began distributing $10 billion to hospitals in high-impact areas through the Health Resources and Services Administration. According to Secretary Alex Azar, the top priority for HHS's administration of the Provider Relief Fund has been getting support as quickly as possible to providers who've been hard hit by COVID-19. The money is part of the CARES Act, which, by the way, the CARES Act, that's what provided all the support to businesses and that sort of thing. It was introduced in Congress in January of 2019. Some of these people in government are pretty psychic, I have to say. All right, so $175 billion was allocated to hospitals and healthcare providers. On June 8th, HHS sends communications to all hospitals about plans to distribute the second round of money. And so $12 billion was given to 395 hospitals last time. So anyway, here's the method. And this is what the important thing is. The second round of funding announced today was based on a formula for hospitals with over 161 COVID-19 admissions between January 1 and June 10th of this year, or one admission per day, or that experienced a disproportionate intensity of COVID admissions exceeding the average ratio of COVID admissions and beds. Hospitals would be paid $50,000 per eligible admission. I'm going to read this again. Hospitals will be paid $50,000 per eligible admission. The first round of funding was based on a formula that distributed funds to hospitals with 100 or more COVID-19 admissions between January 1 and April 10th, and then they were paid $76,975 per eligible admission. So the first part of the year, $76,975 per person admitted for COVID to the hospital. And now we're down to $50,000. So you're wondering why there are surges in cases. You're wondering why the hospitals are calling COVID cases and deaths that might not be COVID cases and deaths. Well, there sure is a financial incentive to do it, right? Okay, so anyway, you just can't make this stuff up. So we'll finish with a little COVID humor. All right. Trader Joe's grocery store now has a sign outside in one of its locations. It says, if you can't wear a mask, we'll offer you reasonable accommodation by providing you with a mask. Okay, so if you can't wear a mask, we will give you a mask. That makes so much sense, right? Everyone standing outside in line to get into Trader Joe's, which is about an 8-minute wait, has to wear a face mask, but a clerk came through the line offering bottles of water to everybody. And of course, in order to drink the water, you have to remove your mask. Our California governor's order for counties in the monitoring list to rise in cases for 3 consecutive days has requirements for certain industries to shut down unless they can be modified to operate outside. And the list includes bowling alleys. So if you can build your bowling alley outside, if you can move your hair salon outside, I mean, think about this. We're going to take all the businesses outside now. I mean, it's just unbelievable. And these people, they're basically saying that if you can't take everything outside, then you can't do business. I mean, it's just unflippin' believable. So anyway, what can I say? What can I say? Words can't possibly describe this lunacy that I'm talking about here. All right, that's enough for today. As usual, pass this on to somebody who you think would enjoy becoming educated about this, and I'll be back to you tomorrow with more news.